My mother-in-law wore white at my wedding, so I humiliated her with pettiness.
Never wear white.
Never wear white. This happened a few years ago, but it's still brought up in family gatherings, so I'm wondering if I was wrong. Strap in because it's a bit long, but I want to provide all the context. By the way, this comes from Conscious Cup 4726 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So my husband, 35 male now and 28 male before, and I, 32 female now and 25 female before, have been together for almost a decade now, but my relationship with his mom has always been rocky. From the start, my mother-in-law, let's call her Linda, made it clear that she didn't think I was good enough for her son. She would make snide comments about my career. Oh, you're just a teacher? Just a teacher? A teacher is a very respectable job. And my looks? Your hair is unique. And even my cooking, despite her barely being able to boil water. I've gotten comments like that before where it's like, you dyed your hair. Instead of like, oh, your hair looks so nice. It's like, my husband always supported me, but he also didn't like confrontation, so he often tried to smooth things over without fully addressing her behavior. When we got engaged, Linda's antics went into overdrive. She tried to hijack our wedding planning, claiming she knew what was best and that it was her son's wedding too. At first, I tried to include her in minor decisions to keep the peace, like helping pick out flowers or giving input on cake favors, but she took that as a green light to try and take control. She started calling vendors behind my back, suggesting changes, and even attempted to add guests to the list without asking me or my husband. The breaking point came a month before the wedding. Linda called me in tears, saying she hated the dress I picked out for the bridesmaids, a simple, elegant navy blue, and demanded that they wear something more appropriate. This is the picture for reference. I took this picture from Pinterest and hired someone to make the dress, and thankfully my bridesmaid loved it. I even told them that they could add any extra fabric or change how it looks to their liking, just keep it the same color. When I calmly explained that the decision had already been made and that the bridesmaids all loved their dresses, mother-in-law snapped, saying, well, if you won't listen to me, maybe I won't even bother coming. I told her that that was her choice and hung up. Fast forward to the wedding day. I was nervous but excited, trying to focus on the joy of marrying the love of my life. As I was getting ready, my maid of honor came rushing in to tell me that Linda had shown up in a long white gown. A white gown. She came in a white gown. Not off-white, not cream, straight up bridal white. I felt my blood boil, but I didn't want to cause a scene or let her ruin my day. So I took a deep breath and came up with a plan. I pulled my photographer aside and asked them to take extra pictures of Linda throughout the day. Group shots, candids, you name it. Anytime someone asked me about her dress, I'd smile sweetly and say, isn't it amazing how confident she feels in that outfit? That is
diabolical.
That is so funny. Oh, I'm just so glad you just feel so confident. Dude, that's like a Mean Girls response, but like slay. Not everyone would have the guts to wear something so bold to a wedding. I hate it when people are like passive aggressive in real life, like people that I know.
Yeah.
But hearing stories about it is like, oh my God, it's so entertaining. It's so entertaining. I even made sure to compliment her loudly in front of other guests, saying things like, Linda looks so radiant today. Doesn't she remind you of a bride? She couldn't exactly call me out without looking ridiculous. Here's what you do, OP. If you want her dress to be a different color, red wine.
I knew you were about to say that.
Red wine. Spill it all over. Spill it over the whole thing. Then you got a beautiful wine-colored dress. Later, during the speeches, my maid of honor accidentally mentioned how she admired my mother-in-law for wearing white because it takes so much courage to make a statement like that at someone else's wedding. I love hearing about this pettiness. Linda's face turned redder than the roses in the centerpieces. Ooh.
Oh my gosh.
Give me popcorn. This is so entertaining. Here's the kicker. I had the photographer include a special section in our wedding album titled Linda's Big Day.
Have we crossed the line here where we should probably stop and say, hey, are we doing too much?
I think we definitely have, but I'm so glad that this is in the story. If we're actually talking, if I'm actually looking to give advice to people, don't do that. That's mean. I think she gets it at a certain.
But people who wear white to other people's weddings always get the worst that could ever come to them.
Yeah. But I mean, also though, should she have just known that that was coming? Especially with how annoying she's been about the wedding.
Photographer to do Linda's big day. Oh my gosh. Linda's getting everything she deserves. But for you paying a paid professional to do that, that's where I'm like, all right, we should probably stop.
Yeah, I feel like at a certain point, it's possible to let that situation overpower what you should be feeling on that day. Like, it should at a certain point just be ignored.
You're slam dunking on this mother-in-law.
Yeah, because then you're just making it into like a huge deal when you could be making it into a smaller deal by just ignoring it and being like, whatever, she's crazy to yourself. But if you're just like, oh, and then Linda over here looks so beautiful, it's almost like it's her wedding day. Oh, Linda's big day. If you keep bringing that up, that definitely is going to just be what you remember from your wedding day, and you don't want that. So she had the wedding album titled Linda's Big Day. It was filled with all the photos of her in her white dress. I made sure to send her a copy as a thank you gift. It's been years, but Linda still complains that I embarrassed her on purpose and made her look bad. She claims I should have told her directly to change instead of playing games. You know what? That is fair. I will say that. Some family members agree with her and think I was petty, but others say she deserved it. My husband is firmly on my side and says I handled it better than he would have. So am I the a-hole for being petty and putting my mother-in-law in her place at my wedding? What do you think? Did I take it too far, or was Linda asking for it? And there is an update, but let's answer those questions.
The fact that the husband said you handled it better than I would have.
Yeah, what was the husband going to do?
Oh, yeah.
Because that's crazy.
She's probably going to like make her dress red wine and then keep her face in red wine.
Instead of smashing the cake into like each other's face, they're both standing there, go smash the cake in their faces. And then he just turns. He's like, oh, and then he turns and goes, boom. He like does the Alice from Twilight kick where he like kicks his foot in the air and then pitches the cake right at the face. That's what I think he would have done. Anyway, so back to these questions. So listen, as a viewer, as a reader, I think this is great TV. You know, I think this is a great story. However, if I were your friend, I would say, okay, we can take it a chill pill. We don't have to be petty. Pettiness and passive aggressiveness is never, ever, ever the right way to respond to something. If you have a problem, you have to talk to them in person and straight away. And also, again, like we said before, you don't want to make this the thing that you remember from your wedding day, you know?
That is true.
So there's an update, okay? So after my original post about the wedding fiasco, I got a lot of feedback. So let me give some updates. My bestie, who was the maid of honor, and a few bridesmaids saw my previous post and wanted me to spill the hot tea about what happened during the bridesmaids' dress fiasco with the mother-in-law. Honestly, I was dying to share this, but I just thought it would be too long on the first post, so I shortened it. Anyways, let's get into it. Previous context, a month before the wedding, my mother-in-law called me crying about how she hated the dresses I picked for the bridesmaids. At first, I thought it was a let's calm down situation. So I invited her over to my house to talk it through, thinking that we could compromise. I had my bridesmaids over at the same time, and the plan was to let them try on their dresses so that Linda could see them in person and hopefully back off. The dresses had already been handmade by the person I paid for, so I can't really return it anyways. The day came, and I should have known things would get messy. We were all sitting in my living room, the bridesmaids in their dresses, my mother-in-law looking like she was sucking on a lemon the entire time. She barely spoke as the girls twirled around, showing off their dresses, but I could see the gears turning in her head. Finally, she broke the silence with a sigh so dramatic it could have been a stage performance. Also, the conversation I wrote in here is from a security camera I had in the house. Yes, I should have just shared the video, but unfortunately, I had some technical issues. Nevertheless, I wrote exactly what happened during the interaction. Linda said, I just don't understand why you chose this color. Navy? It's so dark. I thought you wanted something more elegant, more memorable. At that point, one of my bridesmaids chimed in and trying to ease the tension. Bridesmaid 1 said, but we all love them, Linda, and the navy really brings out our eyes, don't you think? Linda said, well, that's all well and good, but I just think you could have done better. I was thinking more along the lines of a soft blush, maybe light and beautiful like my dress. Ooh, she just wants confirmation that her dress is pretty. She took out a dress that had made my jaw drop. Instead of a soft blush like she dress, it had a turtleneck and was backless. She wanted to wear that dress to my wedding. So they knew that she was going to wear like a white dress beforehand. Heck nah, never wear white to a wedding. Are you stupid? That was it. I had enough. I stood up from where I was sitting, looked her dead in the eye, and without missing a beat, I said, Linda, I don't think anyone here is wearing a blush gown, especially you in a white dress at a wedding, but nice try. You want elegance? Here's the thing. My bridesmaid love their dresses and they look stunning. It's not your wedding, and honestly, I don't care what you think about the color. You can either support me or you can sit back and watch from the sidelines, but let's not pretend like you know better. Mic drop. Boom. That's actually kind of insane. We gotta pause there for a second. There's still more, but that's just crazy.
Yeah.
That's a big line. At first I'm like, you know what I mean? A little passive aggressive, but he just kept going, dude.
She really did.
Same as the other ones. I'm eating this up as a viewer. However, if I was your friend,
Being there,
I would be so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I'd be like, maybe be nicer about the situation.
my husband still again was like, did this way better than I would have.
There was a stunned silence. My bridesmaids were visibly holding back laughs, and Linda's face went from pale to a shade of red that matched her lipstick. She opened her mouth to say something, but I wasn't finished. I said, and just so we're clear, these dresses aren't about you or your taste. They're about the girls who are supporting me on the most important day of my life. If you think that you can stroll in and tell me how to run my wedding, you are gravely mistaken. I could see Linda's pride take a hit, but she was still trying to recover. Linda, I was just suggesting. I respond, yeah, and your suggestions are noted, but they're also irrelevant. You had your day, Linda. This is mine. At that point, she opened her phone and I could see her scrolling to call my husband. My bridesmaids and I just sat there exchanging looks. We all knew what was coming. Dun dun dun. A few minutes later, my husband, who had been quietly listening from the phone call I actually had with him, he heard everything through the phone, and it was clear that he wasn't happy. He picked up the call where Linda was trying to call him on the phone. The husband said, Mom, I heard everything. I really think you need to sit this one out. There's no holding back on her. She's not gonna let you go. You just gotta take it and run and run away. He continued and said, you've already made enough noise about the wedding. We're happy and we've made our decisions. If you can't respect that, I don't think we need to continue this conversation. Linda, but the husband? No, I'm not hearing it. I'm done. If you want to keep causing drama, do it on your own time. I'm done listening to you. Linda was completely caught off guard. She hung up and tried to act like nothing happened, but by then we were all over it. The mood was completely deflated, and my mother-in-law ended up leaving early, sulking the entire way out. But you can never make enough noise about joining us live on where, Riley?
YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Twitch.
And what do they have to do to join us?
Click our profile around 3 p.m. PST.
Yeah, every weekday, right?
That's right.
That's why we're probably even live right now. Give it a shot.
Yeah.
After we finish the story, because there is more, okay? But let's talk about that little conversation really quick, because that was...
She's going after her for the throat.
Yeah. It was honestly a moment of pure victory for me, though I have to admit it, the pettiness felt pretty great. Afterward, my husband apologized for not handling things sooner, but I reassured him that it wasn't his fault. He always has been supportive, but I need to take control of that situation. So after everything that happened, I still stand by what I did. But now that I've given you the full story, do you think I went too far with my response? Or was I right to shut her down and make my point? That's the end of the story, first of all. And I think final thoughts is kind of saying that we've been saying before, like, listen, it is a little petty,